If there's a prosecution of Donald Trump for mishandling classified information after the Clinton debacle, which you presided over and did a hell of a good job, there'll be riots in the streets.
There will be riots in the streets. That was Senator Lindsey Graham essentially posing a threat to the DOJ for its investigation into Donald Trump, who we now know had literally hundreds of classified documents in his Mar-a-Lago residence, which he had of course taken home with him from the White House. Now that breaks the law, that's why he's being investigated. He was given ample opportunity to cooperate with the investigation, so the raid wouldn't even need to happen, but he doesn't comply, and so the chickens have come home to roost. And of course, after Lindsey Graham issued that threat, it was followed by Donald Trump doing what Donald Trump does best, post on social media. And so he posts on his Truth Social platform to say that he is supportive of this effort to not only threaten the country, but to rile people up to the point where they might do yet another riot on behalf of Donald Trump. Now, Trump also had posted about the FBI. He's trying to instigate some infighting and a possible internal coup within the FBI. But before I get to that, Cenk, I wanted to give you an opportunity to weigh in.
Yeah, as usual, here we go. Things are getting dangerous. So we already showed you the poll, 41% of Republicans think it might be time for violence. And so Lindsey Graham comes out here and says, well, they should do it, basically. He says, if you dare hold us accountable, we will have our fans resort to riots and violence and try to physically threaten you and intimidate you. Yeah, that's very normal for the right wing these days. So
be careful what you wish for, Lindsey. We all remember what your reaction was to the Capitol riots. So if you're gonna cultivate that kind of environment where political violence and political retaliation with violence is totally acceptable and you're actually egging it on, again, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, and then of course Donald Trump's gonna jump in and he loves talk of violence. I mean, they told him they're threatening to kill your vice president, Mike Pence. And he said he didn't have a problem with it. So you think he's gonna have a problem with this? Of course he's gonna threaten more violence. And why would you threaten violence in a situation like this? Because you're guilty, that's why. It's super freaking obvious. And anyone else that had classified clearance would be in prison right now if they had done what Donald Trump did. And Lindsey Graham knows that and Donald Trump knows that.
Exactly. Well, I wanted to get to some of his posts in regard to the FBI, because on Truth Social, Trump has put up several posts where he's trying to instigate some internal infighting or possibly an internal coup with the FBI. He thinks there's a group of FBI agents who are on his side and he's trying to get them to act. So in a post he writes, when are the great agents and others in the FBI going to say, we aren't going to take it anymore? Much as they did when James Comey read off a list of all of crooked Hillary Clinton's crimes, only to say that no reasonable prosecutor would prosecute. The wonderful people at the FBI went absolutely nuts. So Comey had to backtrack and do a fake investigation in order to keep them at bay. The end result, we won in 2016 and did much better in 2020. But now the left has lost their minds. And if you think that he might finally be weaning the country and his party off of this notion that the election was stolen from him, you'd be wrong. Because in another unhinged post, he writes, so now it comes out conclusively that the FBI buried the Hunter Biden laptop story before the election, knowing that if they didn't, Trump would have easily won the 2020 presidential election. This is a massive fraud and election interference at a level never seen before in our country. Remedy, declare the rightful winner, or, and this would be the minimal solution, declare the 2020 election irreparably compromised and have a new election immediately. Like, we live on different planets, but we exist in the same country. It is a disastrous situation.
Yeah, so guys, look, right wing, here we are again. Do you know that you can't just say, oh, the guy who lost is now magically won? There's no vehicle for that. There's no law for that. It's not in the Constitution. How would you even make that happen? Who would determine that, hey, you know what? Maybe in the middle of Trump's term, we're gonna say, oh, you know what? Hillary Clinton, she's now the president. Get the hell out, Donald Trump. You know why and no one did that? Because you can't do that. It's not a thing. Hillary Clinton cried and cried and cried. No one denies that, okay, unless they're the establishment, right? Oh, it was the Russians, it was the weather, it was this, it was that, it was Bernie Sanders, blah, 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 blah. But she never said, no, I'm the president. I want Donald Trump to walk out and I want me to walk in. You know why she never said that? Because that's mental. That's insane. There's no such thing. Or, you know what? I didn't like the way the election went. I thought James Comey was unfair to me. Let's redo the election. You know why she never said that? Because there is no such thing as redoing an election like this. 2 years later, if you think there is, you're just wrong. You're factually wrong. It's not a matter of opinion. You've been lied to. You've been brainwashed. There is no such thing. The guy that you're following, Donald Trump, doesn't know anything. Either he's lying to you that you can redo the election now, in which case, what a monstrous, insane lie, right? Or more likely, he doesn't know himself. He's never read the Constitution. He's never looked up a law in his life. The only thing he thinks laws are for are breaking. So you're following a moron that doesn't know anything about our government. And he was president for 4 years. He still doesn't know because he has no intellectual curiosity. He doesn't want to know anything unless, oh, does it help Trump? Does it help Trump? And look, he's the one that passed the law that says he should go to jail for 5 years. I'm gonna read you a small portion of the classified document part, but this is the relevant part. If you knowingly remove such documents or materials without authority and with the intent to retain such documents or materials at an unauthorized location. That's exactly what Trump did, and you all know that's exactly what Trump did. And now that he's cornered, he's like, oh, let's do a random election. Put me back in church for no reason. Or otherwise violence. Let's do riots. That's what the right wing has become. Pathetic, all of them.
Well, I think we make the mistake in assuming that the right wing, as it exists today, really cares about what our Constitution says, really cares about the rightful winner of our democratic process. What's become more and more clear to me, especially with the rhetoric they've been using, things like our God-given rights. Our rights were given to us by God, not by government. That was a literal statement in a Dave Rubin video that we'll show you guys later in the show. But the reason why I bring it up is because it doesn't matter, right? They don't care what the law says. They don't care what the Constitution says. They don't care what the real outcome of the presidential election in 22 was. They want to have it their way, period. And our democracy is barely even secondary to what their desires are. They think they have been anointed by God himself to run the country and throw out any democratic process that would stand in the way. That is what we're dealing with right now. So anyway, all right, well, the one final thing I wanted to mention is he also posted this on Truth Social. He re-truthed someone, if that's how you refer to it on Truth Social. The person wrote, the FBI interfered in the election and put the people who protested it on January 6th in prison. And he quoted that saying, wow, well said.
Was it?
Nailed it. Nailed it. Anyway, we're in a scary place in this country. And the question is, with Trump being a symptom of what's broken in the US, what are we gonna do to fix the actual root of the problem? That we have at least 35% of this country that's willing to throw democracy away just to ensure that someone like Trump stays in power. Yeah. That's a scary thought, and that's what we're dealing with today.
Yeah, all right, the last thing I'll say, because you asked it in the form of a question, is, look, our only hope is for some reasonable person to break into the national conversation and begin to heal things. And not necessarily heal things right away, right? You got to fight back against the misinformation first, and you got to win first, and then do the healing. But it's never going to be the establishment, because the establishment will never admit to their own lies. Oh, all the politicians are wonderful. There's no money in politics. All those millions of dollars in bribes are just hugs and rainbows. So as long as you have the goddamn liars running the place, the right wing is never ever going to come to their senses, because they think, well, I'm not going to listen to that liar, right? So we're at loggerheads, and national right-wing media won't allow any progressives on, and national media won't allow any progressives on. So they just keep fighting over these issues, and they're both lying for their own side.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.